everyone. I'm Dr. Renee Mehrra. March is Women's History Month, and a big, warm, rich salute to all the women around the world for their heroism, indomitable spirit, unflinching courage, beating the odds and becoming game changers in their own right. And today I'm talking to one such woman who's been a big inspirational to many of us. She beat the odds. She broke the stereotypical barriers. She broke the wall in her head and went beyond the wall and became the first Indian woman to climb the highest volcano in Asia, Mount Damavand, and became the first Indian woman from the state of Uttar Pradesh in India to climb Mount Everest in 2012. Let's meet Squadron Leader Toolika Rani, an ace mountaineer, an ex-Indian Air Force officer, a very powerful motivational speaker, a research scholar, and author of Beyond That Wall. Thank you so much, Toolika, for joining us today.
Hello, namaste. Thank you so much for having me here, Renee. And it's a pleasure talking to you and through you to your audience.
Well, thank you. Now, you dreamt big, and your quest was to attain something that looked and seemed impossible. It was like an impossible dream, but you achieved it. And that's what I think is what transformation in your mind can do. I can do it, doesn't matter. So you redefined human possibilities and capabilities. So that's kudos to you, Toolika. This is amazing. So there's so much to talk to you about: the book, your research on Sherpas, your mountaineering expeditions, your tenure in the Indian Air Force for 10 years. So let's start with, how did you first decide to get into Indian Air Force? Because there are not too many women in there.
Yes, I would say that it started with my childhood itself, because I was always a person who was very close to nature. I believe that everything starts with our mind. As you said, dreams. And right from childhood, I believed in one thing, that we as human beings must dream, not only while we are asleep, but also while we are awake. And those dreams have to propel us towards utilization of our potential. Every human being is born with a certain inclination. And I believe that God, when he sends us on this earth, he sends us with a particular gift, a unique gift to everybody. So I must be better at something, and you must be better at something else. Everybody, all of us, are better than others at something or other. So that is what we need to identify first. As a child, I was very close to nature, and I was fascinated by the sky, because sky for me, it symbolized the endless potential of a human life. It was vast, it was beyond any limits, it had no end and no beginning. It was like human life itself for me, no end and no beginning. In Indian philosophy, this is what we believe, because I'm also very deeply rooted in Indian philosophy. And I do believe that everything is about energy here. Everything is in circulation, always in motion. So that is why I, as a child itself, connected very deeply with nature. And I think that led me to join Indian Air Force, because Indian Air Force, again, has everything to do with the sky. And that is why when as a child I got into, like when I grew up as a child, I used to watch sunsets and sunrise without any fear. I used to equate it with the circle of life also. You know, at the time of sunrise, we see that small golden orb lightening the entire world. Thereafter, it has the entire circle of the day. It goes down the horizon in the evening, tired, the way human beings also feel at times, but then it rises again. So that kind of an affinity I had with nature. Nature gave me all the lessons of my life. And that is why, due to this natural inclination, I joined Indian Air Force, because I thought that I would be in very close contact with nature, in very close contact with the sky itself. So I would like to show you certain photographs of mine, which would show you my life in Indian Air Force. Just a minute, just give me a sec.
So when you talk about harmony with nature, you're in harmony with yourself. Gold medalist, yes. Wonderful.
Yes.
Here we go.
So we have this beautiful institution in India, the National Cadet Corps, the NCC. And I would like to advocate that every school, every college in the world shall have this kind of an institution, because it transforms young boys and girls into somebody who can take a stand for a principle, into somebody who can lead their life with the discipline and team spirit, absolutely. So I also joined it while I was in graduation. And thereafter, a natural progression for most of the cadets who take NCC is towards the armed forces. And it was no different for me also. So I had a dream of joining the Indian Air Force, the armed forces, and I did in 2005. So these are some glimpses of my life in Indian Air Force. First, I was in administration branch, and my specialization was in air traffic controlling. So this picture, as you see on the screen, is me as an air traffic controller. It is the badge over here, the proud badge of an ATC officer. And this, of course, is in my usual Indian Air Force uniform. The last tenure, I had the privilege to become the outdoor military training instructor in the Air Force Academy.
That was in Hyderabad.
Yes, which is in Dundigal, Hyderabad. So that was the highlight of my career, I would say, to become an instructor in the same institution from where all of us, the officers in the Indian Armed Forces and in the Indian Air Force, they pass out and become officers. So I had those more than 2 years over there, in which I had the privilege to see the transformation of hundreds and hundreds of young boys and girls into warriors, into soldiers. Now, when we talk about warriors and soldiers, they have certain qualities of discipline, leadership, team spirit, initiative, courage, adaptability. And first of all, they do not take credit for their victories. They always have that kind of a gratitude towards life, towards everybody who has supported them. So this was a glimpse of my life in the Indian Air Force. Also was privileged to see the history in making, because while I was an instructor, we also had India's
team of fighter pilots. That's
yes,
here too. What these women, yeah.
Yes. So it was really an inspirational moment, I suppose, for India, the entire India, to see those 3 young girls becoming the fighter pilots. So that was inspiring for me. I learned a lot from them, and I had the privilege to teach them a little bit in the outdoor military training.
Wow. Let's look at some of your more pictures here.
Yeah, so after this, I got into mountaineering also while I was in the Indian Air Force. So I would share a little bit story of that.
A lot of, I think you did 24 expeditions, and the first one to Mount Everest was 2011.
Yes. Yeah. So that is a different story altogether, because I believe that as we talked of dreams initially, human beings shall keep on dreaming till the time we are alive, because dreams are the one thing that keep us alive, Raj. If we stop dreaming, we stop growing, because then we stop pushing ourselves beyond our limits. And if we are stuck in that comfort zone, we are no longer progressing. Yeah. The nature says it. The nature teaches us all these things. As a seed is put down into the earth, it struggles against gravity to come up as a sapling. And again, it grows against gravity upwards. That is how human beings have to be. If we stop challenging ourselves and be stuck in the comfort zone, life is not just about breathing. Life stops at that moment. So I continued dreaming again, and I joined this Indian Air Force mountaineering team. That happened in 2009. So I had the opportunity to volunteer for it, and I took that step forward. I think a lot of people in their life, when this opportunity knocks at their door, sometimes they just stay back due to the fear of failure, due to the fear of perhaps not being up to the mark to that opportunity. So it is up to us. How do we perceive it? Do we perceive it as a threatening?
Yeah, we have to try to know how far we can go. You push yourself to the limit, and that's what you did. And look what you achieved. Yeah.
So yeah, so this is what I did. And I have been fortunate, I think, because I always seek out challenges. So more challenges come to me. Very fortunate, because it is all in our minds. The kind of environment we surround ourselves with, that is the kind of environment we attract around ourselves more. So since I see challenges come to me, and I'm really happy to jump at them. And this opportunity came in 2009 when Indian Air Force had conceived a plan to send its women officers to Mount Everest. And I volunteered for it. It was supposed to be a 2 years training on 4 different Himalayan peaks, because Everest is the highest on this earth, and we just can't go straight away to climb Everest. We have to be trained for that. So these are some glimpses of our training on 4 Himalayan peaks in Garhwal as well as Leh Ladakh. So we went to Siachen Glacier also.
So this is a 2-year rigorous training that you had.
Yes. So yeah, these were certain glimpses. Like we trained on ice walls, we trained in ice gullies, we trained on rocks and snow and everywhere. This was extensive training given to our team for 2 years. Thereafter, we embarked on this Mount Everest expedition as an Indian Air Force team in 2011. So this is how Mount Everest is climbed. Just a brief about it. The base camp, we reached.
There were a lot of women with you, this team, and this Air Force team?
There were 11 women officers.
Wonderful.
And 8 male members also. So we were total 19 plus 1 support member was also there. So total 20.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how Everest is climbed. We put certain camps over there. And then after 4 camps, we climb up to the summit. So it looks very beautiful. It looks easy, but it's very dangerous.
Over 29,000 feet?
Sorry?
It's over 29,000 feet over here.
Yes, it is. It is. And beyond this point, 26,000 feet, it is termed as death zone, because a lot of experiments have been done on the climbers' bodies on this particular section. Mm-hmm. And it has been found that irrespective of the physical fitness we have amassed within ourselves, irrespective of the time that we have been on the mountain, the human cells start dying while we are in this zone. That is why it is called literally the death zone. So that's how the Everest is climbed. Something happened while I was climbing Everest in 2011 that changed my life forever. Though I was already an officer and I was already extremely fit physically, mentally also, I think I was tough. And that is why I could complete that training, military training, which is really tough and grueling. But still, somewhere we human beings have a scope of improvement always in our lives. We have certain walls within, and we must identify those walls time and again in order to improve ourselves. In 2011, while everybody thought that I would be able to climb because I was so fit, I had to return from midway. Here, I would show you above Camp 2 towards Camp 3, where I have written the slope safe phase. You can see there's a steep section over here. There is an ice wall on Everest. And this is the point from where I had to return.
Wow.
So a lot of factors combined forced me to retrace my steps over here. And I had to return without climbing to the top. That was really devastating. And all these moments come when we have prepared really hard. We think that we have given our best, but we fail.
But that unsuccessful event translated into success the next year. I mean, and it transformed you into a more powerful mountaineer. And you said, hey, I can do it. And you went beyond that wall by breaking the wall in your head.
Yes, that's the story. The book that you see right next to me here, this is the story of this failed attempt. And afterwards, a 1-year gap in which I transformed myself as a human being, of course, with the help of some more people. My mother was instrumental in this. Then I could identify, I looked within. When I failed, I didn't do one thing, that is to blame external circumstances. A lot of people do this. And that is why, despite a lot of hard work, they fail. And when they fail, they break. They just break down. They do not rise up again ever. They go into misery, that self-pity mode, because they blame entire world for their failures. The external circumstances, the lack of resources sometimes, the lack of time sometimes, the adverse circumstances at times. But they fail to do one particular thing, which is the most important, to look within and find for answers within. I spoke about Indian philosophy in the beginning. And the root of Indian philosophy is that everything is within. We say one thing, I am the Brahman. I am the Brahmand also. I am the universe. Aham Brahmasmi. There is this one sentence in Indian philosophy, which is the center of all the knowledge.
Absolutely.
I am the universe. Aham Brahmasmi.
You're the universe, and at the same time, you want to change, you got to change yourself. You cannot change the world. So the change comes from each one of us. The transformation came from within you, and you were able to then become very successful in 2012. And there you climbed Mount Everest.
Yes, I did. I identified that I had an inner wall, that wall of fear. So I had to go beyond that wall. Within 1 year, I prepared harder on my body as well as on my mind. Now that was the difference which made all the difference in my outcomes also next year. I returned to Mount Everest just 1 year later. This is the picture when I came back again on my individual expedition to Mount Everest. Very unconventional step. But if we do not do something unconventional or extraordinary, we do not gain anything extraordinary. We have to take that risk in life. So I returned to Everest, and thereafter I encountered this wall again. And you wouldn't believe that I fell sick over here again. The next attempt also, I had to return back to the base camp. But I fought with my body, and my mind won at that time, because I had trained my mind during that 1 year to encounter these situations and prevail over them. So when my body was giving in to the altitude and to this wall, my mind did not this time. And that is why I could climb above this wall, beyond this wall, and ultimately could reach the top of Mount Everest.
There you go. You're holding the tricolor with pride. That's 26 May 2012. What a proud moment for you and your family and for everybody.
Yes, definitely.
Retraining your mind, recalibrating yourself. And here you got into those dizzying heights of success. It's amazing.
Knowing that something was going wrong with my foot, I endured excruciating pain the entire night, and I continued climbing because I had trained my mind, as I told you, to go beyond my physical limits also. Whichever goal in life we are pursuing, we have to transcend those physical limits, and mind is powerful to do that. So with this, when I stood on the top of Mount Everest, I felt a lot of gratitude towards everybody who had supported me. I believe that human beings shall have this virtue of gratitude, because alone we cannot do anything in this universe. We do not exist alone here. We are interconnected.
It's grace, it's gratitude. So it must have been such a fulfilling moment for you.
It was. It was a spiritual moment for me when I felt one with the universe, when I felt the power of God, because I had seen the dead bodies of mountaineers on the way, and only God could have done this miracle. He allows some people to be alive and continue to the mission and achieve that goal, and some people perish. So I was very thankful that I was alive and I could complete this mission. And thereafter, I decided to give it back to the society also. I came back. I was hospitalized for 3 months because I had frostbite on my toes. Doctors advised me to stop climbing. And everybody said that now you have climbed Mount Everest, the highest mountain on the earth, you shall settle down. But I believe that our limits are only in our own minds. Nobody else can decide what we can do and what we shall not do.
Absolutely. And you proved it. You proved it. You're a testament to what you're saying, you know.
Yes. So I continued climbing. I came back from the hospital, and just 1 month after that, I was back into the mountains. This time, but I was not able to wear my shoes. I went in slippers, and everybody used to call me a crazy girl, climbing mountains in slippers with bandaged toes. But I did that. So these pictures, you can see me in the shoes, but that was a year later. For a very long time, I climbed in slippers with my toes bandaged. In these pictures also, I continued bandaging my toes for 2 years. So while everybody would laugh at me at times when I would go into my tent in the evening, they would say, she just goes into the tent in the evening. Why does she feel so cold? They didn't know that I had those frostbitten toes, very raw and rough, without any nails on them. And they were just raw flesh, and I had to bandage them. That is why I rushed to my tent in the evening, but I kept climbing in the days. So the highest volcano of
The
Asia,
highest
Mount
volcano of
Damavand.
Asia, Mount Damavand.
Yes, so we climbed it in August 2015, and I had the privilege to become the first Indian woman to do so. Thereafter, the Annapurna Base Camp track I did in the winters, and the Mount Kilimanjaro was climbed in February 16. Thereafter, I attempted Mount Elbrus, which is the highest peak of Europe, in April, pre-climb season. The climb starts from June, July. So I went into the pre-climb season and reached very high on this mountain. Mount Nun was attempted, Mount Kanamo, and Burasu Pass. So yeah, this was my second last trek in 2018. Then COVID happened, so I had to have a break of 2 years, like the entire world had to. But then I returned to mountains as the mobility started again. I'll show you the picture of that also later on. So yeah, that has all happened in terms of mountaineering. I kept climbing. I got that injury on my...
And you got so many awards, Satya Shri Award, the Rani Lakshmi Bai Award, the Outstanding Global Woman Award, you know, because you became such a big trailblazer here.
I think
And
the
you just
awards...
climbed Mount Everest. You went to the base camp this month in March, just a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, I'll show you that picture also. I believe that awards, felicitations, they are a byproduct. I'm really grateful for them. And I'm grateful to the people who recognized my efforts, because when a woman does something, specifically a woman I'm talking about, she becomes a role model for many. She becomes an instrument to change the mentality of the world about their capabilities. And that is why when perceptions change, because see, we do not get equal rights only by laws, only by constitutions. That is important too. But equally important is also the change in the mindset, because our social life also, in addition to the legal life. And when a woman becomes successful and goes beyond those walls and unconventional fields she succeeds in, she opens up many, many vistas for more girls. So that is what I think I have been trying to do in my own life also. So these newspaper clips and all those things, they, I think when they highlight a positive story, they reinforce that kind of belief in women's capabilities, and they break the stereotype. So I'm really thankful for all these newspapers who covered me, and the awards also who highlighted the achievement of a person, of a girl. And yeah, thereafter, I have foraged now into public speaking. Yeah. This was my childhood passion again. All that I do in my life is with passion, is with intensity. As I had spoken in the beginning, that we are born with a particular gift. I have realized that I have the gift of speaking. I have the gift of words, spoken words as well as written words. So, and words are really powerful. We have seen that everything, all the drastic changes in this world have come through ideas, and ideas are communicated through words. So if somebody has that power of words, I think one shall utilize it for the positive development of the society. This is what I have been trying to do through my
visualization that we talk about, you know, dream big, visualize it, and then make it into reality. And that journey from the dream to reality is what we're talking about with Beyond That Wall.
Yes, because human beings have immense capabilities, I think. And only because of these inner walls, we are stuck at wherever we are stuck. Otherwise, everybody has a right to live that kind of a life which we deserve, which we are born with. So this is my mission in life, to give people hope, first of all, because there are adverse circumstances in everybody's life. See, life is not going to be smooth. If there is day, there is going to be a night. Now, that is the law of nature. But we have to have that hope and faith in ourselves to pass that night, to pass that dark night. And all of us, because we exist together, we shall give each other that kind of a support.
You need the support system. Your mom was there for you as a big support here. Yes. And your family was there for you. So it really works well to, you know, empower yourself. With that.
Yes, I would love to acknowledge my mom's support and my family's entire family support here, because sometimes, however strong we are human beings, we are emotional beings also, and we feel low, we feel down, we feel frustrated and dejected. And sometimes that hope seems to just seep out. But herein comes the role of our loved ones, our friends, our well-wishers, and the motivational speakers. In today's world, we have this internet, we have the media, we are connected throughout the world. So anybody who has this power can reignite that fire in us. Yeah. I read books when I was a child. I was always gifted books by my parents. And those books gave me hope. Those books shaped my personality. The kind of decisions I have taken in my life, the unconventional ones, the risky ones, going into forces, getting into mountaineering, now public speaking and writing, not very conventional fields for women. But these books have shaped my personality also. And that is what I'm now trying to do through my words. Yeah. So I got into public speaking and a lot of engagements, experiences again from my public speaking. In the educational institutions, in the universities, I have spoken, and I feel really satisfied when I get these kind of letters from my audience, the students specifically. So when they are inspired, I feel that I have done something worthwhile in life. Again, some more glimpses from the public speaking. I have been fortunate that I have connected to people throughout the strata of the society, be it the rural strata or the urban strata. So that way, I think I have been blessed with this gift and the opportunities. And again, this one was special because the administration in Lucknow administration, before the elections that have been recently concluded, I was made the SWEEP ambassador. Now, SWEEP is the Systematic Voter Education and Electoral Participation Program. It's a flagship program of Election Commission of India. It has been running since 2009. So I was made the brand ambassador of SWEEP for Lucknow district. And it gave me opportunity to talk to people across the strata of society. So that way, I think I could make a positive contribution in strengthening the democracy in our country. After years, this book, this is very close to my heart because it took me, it was born in the hospital. I told you that I was in hospital for 3 months for frostbite. So while it was a very devastating kind of an environment out there in the hospitals are not the very, not a really pleasant place to be in, especially when an outdoor person like me is bedridden 24 hours. So I used to walk, yes. I used to walk a little. My toes were really in a bad condition. They had lost all the nails. They had become raw and rough. So I couldn't put my toes down, but I'm a hard-willed person. So I thought that I would find a way. And if I couldn't put my toes down, I could put my heels down at least. So I used to walk with my heels, that duck walk. People would laugh and I would say, okay, but I am at least moving. Movement is important in life. So, yeah.
Yes, great pictures, great pictures. I feel like I got to start taking training in mountaineering as well after this. Do you do training for mountaineering expeditions at this point of time?
Yes. I train myself. Yes, I do a lot of training myself. And if somebody wants to get into mountaineering, there are a lot of people who ask me all the time for advice. So I do advise them accordingly. So yeah, if somebody wants to...
Yeah, this is for, book, if anybody would like a signed copy, it's toolika83@gmail.com and Instagram is toolika_14.
Yeah. This book also was recently, I would talk a little bit about this book because it has its own journey. It was written in 2012 when I was in the hospital. And I tried to publish it, but it took me 9 years to publish this book. And a lot of people, more than 20 publishers, said that they would not like to publish this. But I had that faith and conviction in myself again that this story is worth reading, worth to be read by the world. And I continued pursuing people for this. And it was published finally from Delhi in October 2021. Now, if I share a little bit of its journey since then, recently in March 2022 itself, it was featured, it was displayed in the International Kolkata Book Fair. I was there signing the copies, and this book fair is Asia's biggest book fair, as well as world's third largest book fair after the Frankfurt and London book fairs, and the first book fair in the world in terms of footfalls. So this book has reached there. The message is that whoever says whatever about our capabilities, we have to know what we are. And if we believe in ourselves, those dreams do come true, even if it takes years and years. So we need that kind of a perseverance in ourselves. And then the dreams would come true. We would see that day. So yeah, the Sherpas, I think those pictures are not here, but I would narrate that thing also. I returned to Mount Everest Base Camp region in this month itself, February and March, I was there. So in March itself, February and March, 10 days, I trekked in Everest Base Camp region, because when I was climbing Everest in 2012, I had decided that I would write about the Sherpas. Now, Sherpas are the people, an ethnic group who reside in the base camp of Everest. They are high altitude climbers. Initially, they used to assist the climbers with reaching the top of these high mountains. We have all heard about Tenzing Norgay. He was a Sherpa with Edmund Hillary. So there are lots of these people who are real heroes in Everest. I wanted to write about their story.
You were talking about you're bringing out the research on their socio-economic and cultural aspects. And you've been doing this research for the last few years now?
Yes. Yes, it has been 2 years. And I have collected a lot of material because I wanted to bring out the authentic voices of Sherpas. Generally, the people from the West, or we also as climbers, when we go and climb with these Sherpas, we have our own perspective about them. They're really strong, they're fit, they're loyal, they're friendly, they're warm. But what beyond that? They live in a society, they have aspirations, they have challenges also. I wanted to bring out those voices because my Sherpa was a 28-year-old man at that time. Now he's married and has 2 kids. I had the pleasure to stay with his family for 2 days in Kathmandu. And he has risen really high in terms of mountaineering. He has become an international mountaineering guide now, an international instructor, mountaineering instructor. He's the secretary of an association over there. So he's done well for himself. But at that time, when I spoke to him, he said he wanted to be a pilot. And he couldn't become a pilot because of the financial issues. So he started earning through the mountaineering. And thereafter, he started making his siblings study. So that was the kind of thing that I heard from him and from some of the Sherpas also. So I thought there is a lot beneath the surface. And these people who are so warm and friendly, who are so loyal, who save so many lives on Everest, their stories need to come out. That is why I started this research. I have interviewed a lot of Sherpas in these 15 days or so when I was on the Everest Base Camp region. And I am conducting some online interviews also. I'm reading about them, their history, their evolution, entire history, how they came from Tibet to Nepal, how they settled into the upper reaches on Everest, and how they got into mountaineering. It was not their choice. It was the people from the West who introduced commercial mountaineering into their lives. And then they have become the heroes now. They have records in their names in terms of mountaineering. So yeah, they are very fascinating as a community, as people.
Yeah. When will the research be out?
It would take 6 months more. So I would submit my PhD, and then thereafter, after it is approved, I would like to publish it in the form of a book. So that book might take a year or so.
Okay. Well, you have scaled the world's highest peaks. You have able to conquer the limitations of your mind. What's next?
Next this is a continuing journey, I feel. So I have just utilized only a minuscule portion of my potential, I believe, because human beings have enormous potential. I would keep diving within, and I would keep identifying all that energy that I have within. So next in terms of climb would be another 8,000 meter. So Choyu, which is in Nepal, this is the 6th highest mountain of the world, is on my list. So whenever I have the financial resources, because climbing these 8,000 meters needs huge financial resources. So whenever I'm able to amass that, I would launch an expedition to that mountain. Also, in terms of writing, I want to write more about hope, about these kind of stories which go beyond every kind of imaginable wall, whether those walls are put by the society, by the perceptions, or by the human inhibitions themselves. So through my spoken words, through my written words, I want to do this. I want to speak at the United Nations. That is my desire at this moment. I would want to live to see it come true. I would like to quote one small poem. It is just a few lines by Emily Dickinson. I would like to quote those lines, and because that puts the entire ambition of my life in perspective. There is only one desire in me now, to utilize my potential as a human being first, and through that radiate that energy into this entire universe that everybody feels that kind of energy resonating within them. So then my life as a human being will be fulfilled. So here are those lines. Emily Dickinson writes, "If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain." Now that is what I want to live like. I shall not live in vain. If I empower one person, if I make one person smile on this earth and give that hope and faith that yes, they can do it, I shall not live in vain.
If you can change even one life, it's as if you've transformed the whole world. And that's what brings unity and harmony. And we're all one big family. So thank you very much, Squadron Leader Toolika Rani, ex-Indian Air Force officer, a amazing, invincible mountaineer, a research scholar, an author of Beyond That Wall, and a motivational speaker. I'm Dr. Renee Mehrra. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Toolika.